This is dedicated to anyone that's been knocked down but not out. The ones that fell to their knees but rose back up. The ones that scratched and clawed but never let go. The ones willing to admit their faults, move past their failures, and improve every single day. I hope these conversations encourage you to think critically, make you laugh hysterically, inspire you profoundly, and remind you to practice gratitude daily. My name is Iman Hushmand. Welcome to the conversation. Welcome to Awesome People.
What's going on, awesome people? Welcome to another episode of Awesome People Podcast. My name is Iman Hushmand. It's a pleasure to virtually be with all of you here once more. The guest that I have today is not virtual anymore because we're only doing in-person podcasts now. And I'm excited that, we're getting the ball rolling. Last week I had my sister, Sogol, and it was a great conversation. And I have no doubt that today's conversation is going to be great again because it's another awesome person, another awesome Iranian. And this individual, the reason why I wanted to have them as a guest is because not only is she really representing the intellectuals of our society, but also she's one of our clients at Night Owls, and we've had the pleasure of helping with the branding of her incredibly new, unique product called GENIX, which we're going to get into in more detail, but it is a very unique skincare line, which incorporates placental tissue extract into skincare products. And so it's scientifically backed because she herself is a scientist. And so it's going to be a great conversation as we get into the world of skincare and just, skin health and wellness. And I'm going to give a little bit of bio about her in a very general way, but then I'll have our special guest do the proper introduction herself. But her name is Shabnam Namin, also known as Dr. Shab. She received a bachelor's and PhD in biomedical engineering from Florida International University. Also received an MBA and an MS in industrial engineering from the University of Miami and an MS in biotechnology from Harvard. During her studies, Dr. Shab spent several years working in many different facets in the tissue engineering realm, focusing on the commercialization of cell and tissue-based products. And for the past almost 15 years, Dr. Shab's focus has been on amniotic-based tissue products. She has multiple publications and patents for her work on the development of these therapies, and she's currently the chair of the Scientific and Technical Affairs Committee for the American Association of Tissue Banks. And Dr. Shab is also the former Vice President of Research and Development for Vivex Biologics, Inc., and she was responsible for leading product development of all cell and tissue-based products for the company. The rest of the stuff I'm going to get into in person because there's just a lot of great stuff that this awesome person has done. And I can't wait to get right into it now. So please help me welcome Dr. Shab.
Thank you, Iman. Thank you for having me.
So great to have you here, Shabnam. It's been a pleasure getting to know you in the past couple of months as we've begun a fun working collaboration.
Working with a great team.
Thank you. It's been fun creating content for us. Hopefully, it's been fun for you as well and not work.
Absolutely. I mean, stepping out of my boundaries as a scientist. So this has been fun.
That is great. Yeah. So the scientist is your core specialty, but now you're becoming somewhat of a influencer, getting in front of the camera. That must have been kind of interesting, getting out of your comfort zone.
It has been, yes.
Yeah.
Doing reels and posting things on social. I mean, I've been pretty much, my network is like family, friends only. So this has been a new route for me, but excited to do it because we have a great product and the more people that know about it, the better.
Well, I think what's important is that you believe in the product so much that you're willing to do this outside the comfort zone thing, which is great. So testament to you and your belief in the product. And we'll get to the product in more detail. But for those who don't know Dr. Shab, why don't we just kind of go all the way back of where you were born, where you were raised, how you went into the science route, and just give us a little backstory.
Sure. So I'm actually born and raised in Miami, which is kind of different. A lot of people come to Miami from elsewhere as opposed to being born and raised here. But born and raised here, both my parents are Iranian. My mom is from Tehran and my dad is from Namin, hence my last name, Namin.
I did not know that. Which part of Iran is Namin?
Ardabil.
Ardabil, okay. Very cool.
Okay. So they both came here for university and actually met in Gainesville. So it's funny, we'll talk later that the company is actually in Gainesville. But they met in Gainesville and ultimately ended up in Miami. I came about and born and raised here. I was, coming from a traditional Iranian family, you're limited by your choices of what you could be when you grow up, doctor, lawyer, engineer. So
you didn't disappoint. Unlike
No.
me, you did not disappoint.
But I loved engineering. I loved mathematics. So that was always my thing. But I really was very interested in medicine at a young age. And, I always had this dream I would be a doctor, like a medical doctor. And so when I started university, I found biomedical engineering, and that was a beautiful combination of, math, hardcore math, as well as, the biology and things that could prepare you for medical school, if you wanted to do that route. And, excelled there. And I had thought about maybe doing an MD and a PhD. They have these combined programs together. As you could see, you'll see I'm a professional student. So I collect degrees as a hobby. But I wanted to maybe do an MD PhD program, but I thought doing them separately would be able to give me more focus and do them properly. So I started with the PhD, and I realized, what? Academics is not really the route for me. Typically, PhDs, you stay in academia, you do postdoc, you do research for the rest of your life. And I knew early on that as much as I love research, I loved more clinical translation research, so not just doing research for the sake of it, just trying to do research to make something that'll be clinically relevant to, other people. And so even before I finished my PhD, I enrolled in the dual master's program at the University of Miami. So as I was closing out my dissertation, I started taking MBA classes, and I really loved the business side of, the biotech field.
Were you taking that business class because you knew that one day you plan on actually applying the medical background and then starting your own business?
That was the goal. Yeah. My father, he had a business growing, as I was growing up. He had his own construction company. And so I really admired, the entrepreneurial spirit that he had. And, he's definitely a role model for me. So I wanted to follow in his footsteps. I think it would have been, he's in construction. I probably, if I was really in it for the money, I probably would have done civil engineering and took over his company. But I really do like medical and biotechnology, and so that's why I went a different route. But yes, to answer your question, I thought the business ownership or, being able to successfully run a business will be the next, thing I needed in my toolbox to be able to be successful. So did the MBA. Got another master's, and then, my father is funny. He always said, as long as you're in school, I'll pay for it, and so I took him at his word.
At what point he's like, I didn't mean forever.
So yeah, the last degree, he said, you're on your own. So I paid for the last degree at Harvard, but it was worth it. I think, the more you learn and the more I think it always helps you get more skills and look at things differently. And so all of that education, I did start working also in the field, and got particularly interested in regenerative medicine. I think there's been a lot of shifting in the way that we treat patients nowadays. It's not just put them on a drug. I mean, even though that's done a lot of times, but there's other ways to treat people, and regenerative medicine is one of those ways. And so this is like, stem cells and exosomes and things like that. And I was fortunate enough to start working with what I think is the most amazing tissue of the body, which is the placenta. I think that is, it provides the ability to create human life, from 0 to 9 months, you're creating a whole new being. And because of all of the important components of a placenta, you're able to do that. And the idea that you can create a human, I mean, that's at the core of regeneration and regenerative medicine, So I early on fell in love with that product, and been working with it for almost 15 years. I've also worked with, cadaveric tissue and different tissue types, but yeah, that's really been...
What is cadaveric?
So people that pass away, they donate their...
Oh, the cadaver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people, they donate their organs, but you can also donate your tissue, including skin and bones and tendons.
So like for burn victims, is that what that's used for?
Yep. Skin, they could use it for burns. Bone, even dental applications. If you get like a root canal or something, they put micronized bone that comes from a cadaver, ligaments, any kind of tendon repair. Typically, that's cadaverically sourced. So yeah, it's a very unknown, field, small but mighty, because I think there's a lot of benefits there. But
so one thing that I want to kind of just go back a little bit is, how we mentioned how Iranians, doctor, lawyer, engineer, that's kind of like the expectation. And I was just talking to a friend of mine a couple of days ago. I think I was watching maybe like a 4 or 5-year-old that was just an incredible singer, and you knew that person, that's it, their life is going to be that. And I was like, what a blessing it is that from a childhood, you already know what your dreams are, and you just kind of like boom, boom, boom. And it seemed as though, I'm sure it was hard and difficult, so don't get me wrong, but would you say that was a blessing to just kind of from the very beginning, like not only is that the expectation in our culture, but also you happen to love it.
Yeah.
And then not only did you love the engineering and the scientist part, but then the business part of it. I mean, it's like the trifecta. So tell me about how like that hopefully was a lucky thing for you, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I did end up being lucky, that is something I excelled at and I was passionate about, so it meant also the expectation that I was trying to live up to.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people in different cultures, that's not always the route. And even me, I find myself, I have a daughter, she's 3.5, and I always said, I want her to be an astronaut when she grows up, because, engineer, go to space, be a hardcore woman, badass, but
Yeah.
she loves to sing and she loves to act and she loves makeup and she loves to do her hair and like is the complete opposite of me. And every time I see it, it's like, oh, my dreams of her becoming an astronaut, get smaller and smaller. But I struggle with this the same way maybe other Iranians or, people that grew up in that culture feel about it. But I was blessed, but, I am more open-minded to, if you have a passion, regardless of what it is, be successful at it, and I think that's the passion is what is difficult to create.
Yeah, I mean, some of that luck can't trickle down to it later.
Yeah.
You have to. She's gonna have to kind of combat.
I mean, her room is, I'm using subliminal messages. There's like space things in her room.
Some Toy Story.
Exactly.
To infinity and beyond.
Yeah.
Okay, but so that's great that you had this luck, but you also worked hard at it. I want to know at what point, if at all, hopefully not, but perhaps you did you lead to facing some challenges, being a minority, in a like gender minority as well, not just nationality, as an Iranian, as a female, in a heavily male-centric industry. Do you want to touch on some of the things that like you faced? Like maybe you thought everything was smooth, and then all of a sudden come high school, college, any challenges?
Yeah, so I would say, thankfully for growing up in Miami, we're very culturally diverse. So I wouldn't say I've had any kind of discrimination for just being Iranian. And I think everybody thinks I'm Hispanic anyway. So I fit in from that perspective. But from being a woman, yes. When I started the engineering program, starting from there, even actually high school early on, because I was always into the math and the sciences, it's a heavily male-dominated area, so I was always, if not the only woman, one of the few women or girls that is doing those kind of things, so math clubs and different things like that. But it just forced me to be more...
Did it drive you?
Yeah, it was a driver, it made me more competitive. So I was always trying to outperform my male colleagues. But it was funny. I remember when I first started taking engineering classes at the engineering campus, it was probably, 2003. It was a while ago. And I remember I was walking down the hallways and I was a lot hotter in my 20s, but walking down the hallways and it was like all eyes on me, all the guys, they were just like looking like they saw like a ghost, because they were not used to seeing women in the building, let alone, doing engineering. And so,
how did that, can you go a little deeper on that? How did that like impact you? Did it kind of give you a little bit arrogance, or did it kind of like, was it nerve wracking, or like, how did you kind of feel when you got all this attention?
Well, because I was so confident in my academic abilities, I liked it because that meant that I would be, showcased more, because it was like, oh, she's the only girl and she's getting A's and she's doing better than all of her guy friends, so I didn't mind it. It was awkward, obviously, just because you're an anomaly in that field. But it wasn't like there was any kind of discrimination. It was just a notable difference in, my peers, obviously. But because, I excelled so great, I wasn't like nobody wanted to work with me or anything like that. It was fine. But when I got into my career, that's when you started seeing the boys club, and then you started to see some differences. And, I don't ever like to complain about, because I'm obviously, I've been successful and I've been blessed. And, I don't want to say that, I was, some hardship, but I mean, there was obvious notable differences of working in a boys club, where I'm the only woman in a boardroom, talking to doctors who don't even look in my direction, until they realize I was the one that made the product, So you do have to overcome that. But it was once they, because I was so confident in what I was talking about, once they saw that, then it was, like normal. Then, we became buddies. We go to the bar and have a drink, so.
How much would you say things have changed since the days of you going into college into this? Would you say that there's like more women now that are entering?
Oh yeah, so. I mentioned 2003 because I still work a lot with FIU as an alumni, and now I go back and it's almost 50-50. I mean, and especially in biomedical engineering, for whatever reason, there's a lot of women there, so it's so great to see that it's much more gender diverse there. But there's still, as you get higher in your career, that's when you start to see still the disparities, because school, everybody's going to school, everybody's fine, which is great. That's made improvement. I will say there's been improvement, in the amount of executives you see that are women and things like that. But there's definitely a difference. You definitely see a difference in pay. That's always been the case. But it was always a driver for me. It's always made you hustle harder, work harder, and I'm here today because of whatever situation I was put in. So
awesome. So what if you had if you were talking to a high school group of students, females, what advice would you give them now? It's 2024. The STEM field has come a long ways, it seems like. But right now, if you were just to give some pointers, some tips, and encouraging other females to get more involved, what would you tell them?
First thing is make sure it's your passion. Make sure that this is something you're willing to work hard for. And that's, regardless of the case, because it takes passion to continue to drive. And especially in the face of any hardship, whether that's discrimination or not, you need the passion to keep going. But even when you are experiencing any kind of hardships, for me, my best thing that I always did, I put my head down and I worked hard. And that's what kept me going, because I knew at the end of the day I could do it, and I could do it better than most people, and they will see it. It's going to be driven by action as opposed to just automatically assumed.
I love that. So then you finally finished school, and you were ready to enter the professional field, and then you decided to start your business. So let's get to the point where the first organization that you were part of, business-wise, and then we'll get into GENIX. So.
Okay. So I started out working in different biotech fields. Like I mentioned, I got into tissue banking. So with placental material, it's still considered tissue banking because it's a donated tissue that comes from birth, full C-section birth. So this is, nothing that's acquired during premature births or anything. I know that's a very sensitive topic when people think about placental material, but I got involved with several different companies, and you mentioned one of them, Vivex Biologics, was my last role before where I am now. There I spent almost 10 years, worked my way up from a consultant to VP there, launched 14 different products and line extensions, stem cell products, their whole amniotic line. And so I got very comfortable with how to commercialize. And that's, like what I was mentioning before, I'm a scientist, but I like to see the translation, and so I got to see how my products affected patients, and how it changed their lives, whether they can walk again, their back feels better, their skin has healed, their burns have healed. all of the products that I've developed, I saw that translated. So that was an amazing feeling. And then about a year and a half ago, actually almost 2 years now, I got introduced to a company, 42 Bio, and that they wanted to bring me on board to run the company. And it's a small startup biotech company. It's based out of Gainesville, Florida. And they had really cool technologies. One is a magnetic separation technology, where we've developed a method to isolate stem cells from cord blood. But technically, the platform can be used to isolate anything from any kind of biological fluid. But the other one was their placental technology. And so they worked with human placenta and bovine or cow placenta in researching different clinical applications. So we've done animal studies for bone healing and wound healing. And so, but I did come, when I came on board, I've always thought that this placental material would be amazing for skincare line. And so they had already started working on developing something like that. And when I came on board, we incorporated GENIX, which is the brand of the skincare line. And yeah, it's been going amazing. I mean, it's a byproduct of a biotech. And so we're not a traditional, cosmetic company, but it was born from science. And I think that's what makes us a little unique.
Is there anything out there like this right now?
No, though there's nothing out there. There are products that claim to have placenta material or stem cells, but just for educating people. I mean, a lot of times they are placental mimicked material. So the placenta has a bunch of growth factors and a bunch of different components that are great for regeneration and skincare. But they're not actually naturally sourced. So we're the only ones that have this material in it. We also have patent protection around our process. So it is unique and it's superior in my opinion.
That's incredible. And so right now the product has been out for less than a year?
It's about a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah.
And so so you have enough of a data sample of your customers that are kind of experiencing this. And as somebody like you who really cares about that ultimate, what kind of impact is it having? What have you been hearing? What are your clients saying?
So the testimonials that we've been given, we've been hearing great feedback regardless of the skin condition or the skin type that these users have. So whether you have oily skin or combination skin or dry skin, there's features in the placental extract that is beneficial for really all skin types. We have some unbelievable before and after images of how the product has affected these people's skin, whether it's just, removed an eye bag to severely removing any kind of acne scars. And so that's been super great to hear. I've been using the product, since we've had it, and I love it. It's been helping my skin maintain its younger look.
Yeah.
But no, it's, yeah. So yeah, I love to hear, the feedback from customers all the time because generally everybody's excited to continue to use it.
Well, what we're going to be doing is using my ugly face as a good sample. And I've had the sample for actually almost a month now. Shabnam was very kind to share this with our entire team. And all of us are going to be documenting the entire process from the first time that we try it on. And there's an exclusive today where she's going to instruct me on the best way to put on this. So you're going to see day one of me using GENIX because I know I got some dark eyes coming up over here. There's probably some baggy eyes coming. That's the stress and the not enough sleep. So I can't wait. And I actually shaved, almost. It's been a day. To kind of hopefully track the progress. So I have no doubt that in a few months, I'll be able to give some positive testimonials as well.
Absolutely. Ladies, watch out in about a couple weeks.
I know. Be careful. I'm going to look a few years younger, which I need right now. Very cool. So how does that make you feel, by the way, that you're getting all these great reviews? This is what it's all about for you, huh?
Exactly. I mean, you want to make sure that you're heading in the right direction. I think feedback is so great regardless of what industry you are in. You can never stop learning, true to form for me. So the more feedback I get, the more I can, learn and change and be better. So.
And then what do you guys have in store next for GENIX? Well, actually, tell us about the two different types that you have right now.
Okay. So we have two products right now. We have a face cream and an eye cream, both of which have the placental extract that is bovine or cow sourced in it. Their base cream is formulated with different components, depending on what we're trying to treat. So for example, the eye cream also has caffeine and retinol, vitamin C, which are very important, in addition to the placental extract. The face cream also has vitamin C and different types of oils in there, just to kind of maintain that moisturizing feel for a face cream. But really, the placental extract is a base that we can use for our pipeline products. So we've talked about creating a different version of our moisturizer that has SPF in it so that people can use it for morning use as opposed to just a night cream. There are ways that we can have serums that are more concentrated formulas of the extract that we can use. There's cleansers and different things that we thought about, but we want to make the most of the extract in our pipeline iterations. But it opens it up for a platform. But what I think is needed to say is that, the extract is so versatile. These products can be used for multiple skin types. So it's not like we have to have a, super busy catalog with, products for sensitive skin and dry skin and oily skin. It's kind of a one-stop shop. It's a product that's versatile, can be used for, all different types of skin, all different types of genders, so it's not that it needs to be a busy catalog. It's pretty simple, and I think that's what also makes it beautiful.
So which one should we start right now with?
We could start with the face cream. Okay. Yep.
Tell us all about it.
So this one.
Did you guys make it simultaneously, both of them?
Yes. And so this is, I think the bottom's open. It'll probably be easier. I opened it.
I'm not exactly the smartest person around.
No, so this is about 1 ounces. And so this will probably last you for daily use, maybe about a month. What you're going to want to do is squirt about 2 to 3 pumps in your hand and then kind of lather it up around your fingertips because you're going to kind of bring it up to your fingertips, and there you go. And then you're going to want to start putting it into your skin. Use very light fluid motion. Yep, there you do. You're doing great. Try to go like a upward stroke at the end. You want to defy gravity and start lifting your skin. You're also starting to affect your lymphatic system, and that'll help with the absorbance of the cream. So yeah, just work it in all over. You're gonna want to get your neck and your under your chin. I use a ton more than 3 pumps, so feel free to use more if you want. But you worked it in.
Are you getting zoom up on this? Okay. Thank you, Fernanda. Chef's
The
kiss.
close up, yeah. How does your skin feel?
Well, it's very cooling, actually. I'm feeling the cooliness. That's good.
Yeah. So this is fragrance free. So, you want to, especially if you have sensitive skin, you want to avoid things that have any potential irritation components to it.
Mm-hmm. So
So it's fragrance free, it's paraben free, and it's not oily or greasy.
Yeah.
At least I don't think it is.
no, it feels great, actually.
Yeah,
I'm saying you would do this once a day, and it's at nighttime primarily?
primarily. I mean, you could put it on as needed, but like if you're using something for the morning, I would recommend something with SPF.
So for guys, in general, let's say I want to start this nighttime routine and I put this every night. What would you recommend for us to have in the mornings, like as a bare minimum for a guy to take care of their skin?
Something with SPF. You want to be able to protect your skin. Whether it's a sunny day or it's a cloudy day, it doesn't matter. You need to protect your skin from the sun and keep it moisturized. So that's really the purpose of a day cream. The night cream, is good after you get out of the shower, you've washed your face, and you put that on. It'll just help to, while you're sleeping, absorb all the nutrients.
Okay. Then should we discuss?
Yeah,
eye cream
so
now?
that's the eye cream.
And you do back to back at nighttime? Is
Yes.
that- okay.
Yeah. So that one, it's 1/2 ounce. This one will probably last you a little bit longer because you're only really going to need a pea size, something very small. and you're going to want to put it
I
on
love the
packaging. Yeah,
It's
thank
very
you.
nice, sexy.
You're going to want to put it on your ring finger. So your ring finger is the weakest finger.
How many palms is that?
That's perfect. Yeah, you're going to want to just use a small amount. Put it on your ring finger. The skin around your eyes is probably the most sensitive. It's the thinnest, so you want to use the weaker finger. But you're going to start just dabbing, starting from the inner part of your eye, working your way out. Just dab a little bit. Avoid direct contact with your eye, obviously, but yep, you're doing good. And then I always try to put also on the top of my eye. Some creams, they recommend not doing it, but this is gentle enough that you can. So if you have any darkness around your eyelids, you can use it there. But try not to stretch your skin as you're going through. Just be very gentle. But this one has, like I was mentioning, this is formulated with caffeine. And so caffeine is known to increase the circulation around the area. So it'll help to drain if you have any kind of puffiness or, you haven't slept good. It'll help to kind of help that area out.
I actually notoriously have had puffy eyes in the mornings, like for a couple hours. It's actually pretty bad. So this would kind of help that too?
Yeah, you can use it in the morning as well. Sometimes people just need a little extra moisture. For women, if you're going to use this eye cream, give it a couple minutes to fully absorb before putting on makeup or a concealer or anything. Yeah. But yeah, it could be used in the morning as well.
I love it. Perfect. Okay, so
day one. Everybody sees day one, right?
One. This is the before. Watch out, everybody. Do I have any cream marks?
Nope, you're good.
That's perfect.
That's
That's another great thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to walk around looking like an idiot with white marks. Okay, so you have this in both the nighttime and the eye cream. You can do it during the day as well, or mornings, which I might try to do that if I see that the nighttime is just not enough.
Yeah.
Because for sure I'm known for those puffy eyes. So what I want to kind of touch on for a little bit is how you've been able to kind of balance motherhood, all this the studying part, and then also just running a business and launching this kind of stuff. So what are some tips on how you've been able to multitask all these really big time responsibilities, including being an awesome wife? So what are the tips that you have? Well,
I think especially with my current role, I travel a lot. And I, like I mentioned, my 3.5-year-old, if it wasn't for my husband, I don't know if I could do a lot of this. She obviously is too young to be left alone, and my parents are, not in the best state that you could leave them at, and neither is my husband. So that support of having somebody that can be there while you're away is, I think, so great. And I don't know how I would do it without it. But and it's also time management. I think that's a really big skill that people can continue to learn and get better at. There are so many things to be done and throughout the day. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, but I do a daily to-do list and I try to check them off, and I don't feel guilty.
Are you a journey gal?
Yes.
Journal gal?
Yeah. I'm still old school. I need to write it down, and I have the satisfaction of crossing an item off of my list. And so even if I don't get to something that I was hoping to, I don't let it discourage me or get me upset. Just add that to the to-do list, the next day. And then taking advantage of small times, like I was right now in an Uber and I was able to kind of review notes before I was coming here, or on a plane, instead of watching a movie, I can, work on something. So there are little pockets of time which may be, considered like, downtime or something that you would typically not do anything, but you could squeeze something in, even if it's to read a book or something to help you continue learning. I think that's what I try to kind of help navigate a lot of my tasks.
What's been your biggest challenge so far in launching and growing a brand new business like GENIX?
Well, so
business/product.
Yeah, I mean, so this, working in the cosmetic and skincare space, it is very saturated. It's a huge part of the economy. It's like a several $100 billion industry, but it's saturated. And there are really big players in the market that just have that name recognition. And so even though you may have a superior product, you always have to go against someone that's been more established, and just anybody knows their name, so really what why I engaged with you, and to work with Night Owls was because I really know that this is a great product, and now we're at a point where let's just get the name out. Let's get it to as many people as we possibly can. And if I can help people with their skin, which ultimately helps their self-confidence, that would just be great for me.
And then what is like, have you had any kind of like professional development coaches or role models or books that you've been reading, like things that perhaps has helped you and kind of like avoid some pitfalls, or maybe like pitfalls that you've kind of like stumbled upon and like you learn from? Like what are some other words of advice?
So I'm actually reading a book now. It's called The Diary of a CEO, and I can't remember the author's name, but it's been interesting of how to look at how to prepare to be successful and what things to focus on and build on personally to make sure that you're successful. So one of the things that caught my attention was that you have 5 buckets that you need to fill in life, and how filled these buckets are equates to how successful you may be. So your first bucket is your knowledge, and that can come from education, experience, people that you talk to. And then and also just to note, these 5 buckets they should be filled sequentially. So they're meant to be, once you have the knowledge, the second bucket.
The first one is knowledge.
First bucket's knowledge. But once you have the knowledge, then you can build on your skill. And so you have the knowledge that gets you to, a position or a job that you can start building your skills. And then once you have the skills, then you can start building your network. So as you go through different jobs, you meet new people, you start networking, maybe attending conferences. And then once you have your network, then you can start building on, your resources and, monetarily, hopefully you're becoming, more successful. And, and so it was interesting to see how this, kind of continues in this trickling effect of how to be successful. I also attend a lot of conferences. I think that continuously learning about changes in the field, especially in a field like biotechnology, where it's constantly changing, new things are coming out. Regenerative medicine is moving very quickly. So staying informed on your trade is also, I think, a good thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, those are 2 big things. Sometimes people are just on the science part of it, and they're just kind of focusing on that. But you're now in the CEO and the business part and that part of it, so it's a little bit challenging to kind of do both at the same time.
Yeah.
You're having to juggle that both.
Yeah, I will say one of our investors in the company now. I also look at him as a role model. He's been a very successful business person. He was a corporate raider in the 80s, which was very difficult to do then. And he has such a high business acumen. So I've been kind of blessed for the past 1.5 years to just learn from him, learn from his experiences, and, take his recommendations as, we're starting to grow the company. I don't get to work with him as often as I would like. And, he could be very harsh sometimes, but I always look at that as a learning experience. And so that's another area of who you surround yourself with to learn from, especially people with experience. That's going to be, invaluable.
Where do you see GENIX in 5 years?
I see it on the store, on the shelves of every major department store. I see it on par or maybe even purchased by, a larger brand name company, which I'm okay with. I think at the end of the day, we want to see bigger utilization and more outreach to, reach to the customers. So if a larger company can do that, then that would be great.
You'd be okay with selling your baby?
I would. I'll just get a new baby.
You already have something else in store. And then also, I know that, I don't know how much you can speak to it, but are you considering to adding on additional products down the road? Is that kind of like the plan as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned, I think the next one that I think makes the most sense is a face cream with SPF. I mean, just to continue the usage. But we've also looked into like different serums, concentrated formulas. And, a big part of our business is working in the clinical space. So working with actual physicians, plastic surgeons, dermatologists. So we've even been working with formulations that have more of a percentage of the extract in it that is more geared for clinical purposes. So there's pipeline outside of, just your average consumer products. But yeah, it's exciting what other features we can add on.
That's incredible. The last thing I want to kind of touch on is, selfishly, I would like for you to kind of share your experience in just kind of venturing into the world of content creation, and how you kind of like, getting outside of your comfort zone to start getting in front of the camera and stuff. Tell us about how like you've been getting more involved in the camera and how you've been enjoying it, hopefully, or not.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember the last time we did a production day here, I was in the Uber coming and I was like, I should do a selfie, like to show that I'm on my way to do this. And I must have taken, I don't know, 15 pictures before I put the one that I posted, because I'm like, am I not doing this wrong? It doesn't look right. The angle, like, what do I say on the picture? So, I follow people and I, I'm in awe by what they do. But, and even the last production day, we were, those videos where people point and, there's different words that show up on the screen.
Yeah.
I thought it was just simple. Yeah, I know what I'm going to do. But then when it got down to it, I mean, Fernando was like, it was funny. I mean, because it was like, do I look this way? Do I look that way? Do I look up? And so I'm learning.
Which you like.
Yeah. Yes.
But maybe we'll make a diploma for you.
Yeah, I know. But I like it. I mean, it's new, and I know the more that I do, the better I'll get at it. And so, like I said before, just put my head down and do the work and I'll get it done.
Well, what I love about this, and what I hope that all of our clients kind of view it as, is about building a community. And like the more this type of content you put out there, you're naturally going to have people come to you that are asking you for help. I mean, like, and you're doing something that can truly help people with their confidence, the way they look, the way they feel, which then translate to so many other elements of their life, personally, professionally. So it's a great thing to be able to do, to have that kind of impact on people. And so I just hope that through the content, it's just not about being an influencer. It's really about building a community of people that love what you're doing, love your product, love your service. And from there, you build other relationships, So really, the fact that we got to know each other, I consider that as like, wow, I love what I'm doing because I get to meet people like you that are making an impact on other people. And along the journey, our team has a little part in being able for you to do more of what you're doing. So, and you're able to do that by creating more content and building a community around you with other like-minded people.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I think you're spot on with trying to help people. It's a skincare line. It's not, surgery product or something like that. But, after COVID and this new work regimen where people are always on Zoom and always on a video call as opposed to being in person, those Zoom calls, you're basically sometimes just looking at your face, So there was a lot of articles that were put out that people have become more self-aware or more self-conscious about how they look, because now they're looking at themselves in front of a screen majority of the time, as opposed to being in a room with someone like they typically did when we were, at a brick and mortar place. So, if I can help, with somebody's confidence, I think that is everything for me. So.
Yeah, with confidence, you're unstoppable.
Yep.
Well, I would love to continue this conversation, but I feel like we covered a lot of things, and I really appreciate you taking the opportunity to chit-chat with me about your story and your upbringing. And as an Iranian, I'm very, very proud of you for all that you've been doing so far. And now that you're doing great things with GENIX, I can't wait to see what's next.
Oh, thank you. I'm very honored. No, I'm very proud of you too. This has been a great thing, and I love what you're doing. I really, truly believe in it, and I'm glad to be a part of it. So thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Shab. Make sure to follow GENIX all over social media. What's your social media?
GENIX Beauty Labs.
Yeah. And I was going to say your personal, but let's just say
GENIX. Yeah, for sure.
But you can follow her on her Instagram right over here, right below and stuff. But thank you all for joining. And don't forget to click like and subscribe and share this video with other people and let people know about GENIX. And I'm going to be keeping you guys updated on the progress of my skin. Hopefully less darker skin, darker spots under my eyes, and hopefully no more puffiness in the morning. All thanks to Dr. Shab and the GENIX team. Thank you guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye, guys.